All right, we are back, and now we're gonna talk about the best part. At least to me, it's the best part. I'd like to know about the challenges because when you know about some of the challenges in something, you are better prepared to deal with them mentally. And so I'm gonna ask Dr. Nganje. So, Dr. Nganje, tell me, what do you think, according to you, are so the top challenges for a teacher or professor?
That's a great question. The most important challenge is that you face students
Mm-hmm.
who have different skill sets, different background. All of them come into your classroom. They are not on the same playing field.
Mm-hmm.
As a teacher, it's your job to do a quick assessment
Mm-hmm.
and say, okay, how do I bring all of them on a level playing field before I start teaching them the material that I really want them to take away from my class?
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a good example. When I taught an economics class, intermediate microeconomics,
Mm-hmm.
there's students who hate math. They don't like to touch math. I went to the back of the textbook. I spent almost 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Just took all the math concepts that were at the back of the textbook.
Mm-hmm.
And those 3 weeks, I solved one examples, whether it's system of equations, matrix algebra,
Mm-hmm.
or linear algebra. I just solved those, and they're like, oh, now I see how that difficult math that I hated, how it applies in real life.
Yeah.
So now when I go to teaching my chapters in those books, everybody is on
They
the
better
same
understand.
playing field. So you remember what we did the first 3 weeks in class?
Mm-hmm.
This is the section that we're going to cover now.
Mm-hmm.
And as we go through the math, it's no longer a challenge for most people.
Yeah.
It's still a challenge.
Yeah.
But I asked them, you can answer your question using a graph, you can use the mathematical approach, which is faster.
Mm-hmm.
But the main challenge for faculty is that people come into your classroom with diverse background.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you bring them up to speed? Some will just teach for the very smart.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to teach for the smart ones. I
Yeah.
want everybody to understand.
To understand what you are teaching. Yeah.
So I take time to bring them all at the same level.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do that, the students get excited.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, that's why they say, wow, nobody has ever really tried to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I get lost. I don't like students getting lost in my class.
Mm-hmm.
If students are lost in my class, I know I didn't do a good job.
Yeah.
Bringing them all
Mm-hmm.
to this at the same level before I advance with the advanced concepts.
Mm-hmm.
So those are some of the challenges. But the other challenge that you have as a teacher,
Mm-hmm.
right, is that students come from poor background,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have the time. They've not eaten. They're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them don't have the time to even sit in class and have a good understanding of what you're teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So I pay particular interest to my students. When I give an exam, I always call to my office all the students who got a terrible grade. If you got a D or an F or a C, I call it to my class. The C ones, I encourage them. But if you get a D and an F, I say, what's going on? I try to understand the students.
Mm-hmm.
Then I try to motivate them individually.
Okay.
And that changes a lot. So students, pay attention to your students.
Yeah.
You have some of them who come in there, they are fine, but some of them have difficult life at home,
Yeah.
right? Their parents just divorced.
Mm-hmm.
They're going through a lot.
Yeah.
And you want them to learn just like every other student in the class. That's not possible.
Yeah.
So when you give that quiz or that exam or that homework, just talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
A little one-on-one
Yeah.
conversation with that student changes everything.
Yeah.
So those are some challenges
Mm-hmm.
that you face as an instructor,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But knowing ways to overcome those challenges and making those students believe they can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at my students, young folks, like from African countries and students from the United States sometimes, say, you got to understand this. The only thing you really get out of college is confidence.
Mm-hmm.
When I look into your eyes, I want to see you in your eyes. Say, I can do whatever I want to do. I can do anything.
Yes. Yes.
And that's the level where those challenges that we face, if we successfully help students with these theories that I call tools that I put in their toolboxes, and then they can now have that confidence that I have so many tools in my toolboxes. I know so many theories. I know so many ways to do things.
Yeah.
You can see the confidence just beaming out of them.
Yeah. They are ready for the professional world.
They are ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's very good. That's very good. So, what else can you think of as far as challenges? Because I have to ask you. You are teaching, graduate students. You are a professor at a college at colleges. But there are other teachers who talk about the financial thing, part of teaching, and a lot of times that's a problem too, right? It's not as rewarding. Thinking about the job that teachers are doing out there, uh, the financial part of it doesn't match.
well, that discussion is a very complex discussion.
Yeah, yeah,
Because it depends at the level at
yes,
which you teach.
exactly.
When you teach at a research institution,
Mm-hmm.
most research institution, because teaching is just part of your job.
Mm-hmm.
Most of your job is research.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
But if you teach at a purely teaching institution,
Mm-hmm.
right, the pay is a little less.
Mhm.
Right. So it depends on the level at which you're teaching. But that's a challenge.
Yeah,
Right, because most instructors, especially at the middle school or
Yeah.
elementary school,
exactly,
they don't make much.
exactly.
And they have to plant the seed that will help these students graduate from whether it's middle school, high school,
High school.
come to the university prepared.
Yes.
If they are not well paid, then it becomes a challenge for them to do their job well.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you're right. Finance is a major issue. And for teachers, it's not only the pay, but it's also the time that they need to really understand students. They dedicate a lot of time
Yes.
out of the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
And that time, somebody will be like, okay, you're getting paid maybe well, but they don't understand what it takes to develop a young man or
Yeah.
a young lady.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work to develop these young people and help them think, because you help them think in ways that they want to change the world.
Yeah. They can go out there and make a
They
difference.
want to change the world.
Yeah.
I always tell my students, economics is that discipline where you can change the world.
Mm-hmm.
One good policy in economics
Mhm.
can mess up everything,
Yeah.
or can change everything. One bad policy can mess up everything.
Yeah.
So in order for you to do that, you have to get these teachers in a position where they can not only teach in the classroom, but they're willing to sacrifice their time
Mm-hmm.
and effort to bring up these young people. We have a lot of challenges in the United States with drugs, alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
and most of it because there's not enough time to dedicate to understand these kids.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's too late.
Mm-hmm.
But if we provide those resources to teachers at the lower level,
Mm-hmm.
it might change a lot.
Yeah. So, what advice would you have for a young, I don't know, college student who are thinking about taking a career in teaching right now? What would you tell them?
If they want to teach at multiple levels, if they want to teach in high school, if they want to become a professor, I can tell you what it takes to become a professor.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is pay attention to details.
Yeah.
If you want to be a teacher,
Mm-hmm.
pay attention to details.
Okay.
In my whole career, in my whole life,
Mm-hmm.
I like to read and then read in between the lines and dot the T's and the I's.
Mhm.
I love details.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to teach at a very high level,
Yeah.
literally that's what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention to details. Because when I'm reading a journal article, it's complex. There's a lot of math in there. I'm not skipping any of those.
You
I
got
have
it.
to know the squeegees, the I's, and the J's, and the subscripts, and the superscripts. I have to know all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention
To
to details.
details. Wow.
If you do that, you will be just fine.
Wow. Very, very cool. We had a very good discussion with Dr. Nganje today. And I know I have to leave the door open for another professional lunch. Now, Dr. Nganje, I have to thank you for today. You have
You're
shared
welcome.
some, your knowledge and some of your accomplishments. And more importantly, you talk about how rewarding it is when a student realizes that they have a great teacher. So that's something that is, that makes my day. So I want to thank you for being for this professional lunch today, and I know the people who are gonna listen to this are gonna enjoy the conversation. So, any last word?
Well, thank you, Rico. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I look forward to any other questions you have.
Mhm.
As you know, I'm from Africa. I'm
Mhm.
from Cameroon.
Mhm.
I could not finish without mentioning that.
Okay. Mhm.
And I love to motivate students from all over the world. I've
Okay.
taught students from every continent,
Wow.
from Europe, South America, Africa,
Mhm.
and I love to tell them, if you pay attention to details and you're motivated and you go to school and just work with the good teachers, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can change the
The
world.
world is at you. The world is.
You can change the world. And the last thing I want to say is, don't be selfish.
Yeah.
Because if you're selfish and you're looking only after what I'm going to get this education, make a lot of money, that's not what teaching is about.
Yeah.
Okay, so money is good,
Yes.
but you have to have that mentality that you
Mhm.
want to help others. You want
Mhm.
to change the world. You
Yeah.
want to do something that is impactful.
Yes.
Once you have that mentality, you do great things.
Yes. Yes.
And money will come.
Yeah. Money will follow.
Money will follow.
Yes.
I believe that.
Money will follow. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And then, so now this is the part. Anything else? I want to leave the door. I don't want to just, stop the conversation. But even if something that is you didn't get to say today, I know we'll make it happen in a different episode of Professional Lunch. So, and now this is the part that I tell you. It's up to you to make today a great day. So have a great